into his understanding of the world, into relation to how he lives. It's not that he necessarily disbelieves in God or is an actual atheist, but he's a practical atheist in that he doesn't live as though God exists or his word has bearing on his life. So, this man is acting as if this life is all there is, and God says, you're a fool. This night, your soul's going to be required of you. You said to yourself, soul, you've got so much good laid up for you. And that was just a idiomatic phrase, a way of talking about oneself, referring to his inner person. But God's going to require that aspect of our humanity, the soul that is everlasting and will never die, that will either go to be with God forever or to be in that place of separation from God's smile in hell. This night, your soul will be required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? Not yours. And so Jesus says the point in verse 21. So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God, seeks to save his life, be selfish, is going to lose it. But the one who loses his life for my sake, he will find life eternal. The one who is rich towards God. And Jesus relates this parable then to the section on not being anxious, not worrying, with a therefore in verse 22. We know that Jesus taught this same material in the Sermon on the Mount, but I do think as it follows the parable of the rich fool, we need to notice the therefore and see the connection. He says to his disciples, therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat, or about the body, what you will put on. Life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. Well, what has this man just said he will do? Is he will eat, drink, be merry, for tomorrow he will die. This is Jesus saying this is not the meaning of life. The nations of the world, the Gentiles, all seek these things. And he uses the example, verse 24, the ravens, the birds, they are fed by God. And you are much more value than the birds. Well, human beings are made in the image of God, separate from all the animals. You notice the assumption that goes back to Genesis here. There's no evolutionary assumption, as many make today, that we're all of one type of animal. No, that you, made in the image of God, are worth something more than the birds. Not saying the birds are worthless, but that God cares for them. Therefore, how much more is he going to care for you? And likewise, the grass, it grows, it's watered by God, but soon the grass will be gone. It'll be wintertime. It'll be brown grass. It'll be dead. And God takes care of that grass for a little while. How much more is he going to take care of his people now and forever, past the grave, past that moment when we too will need something more than goods laid up, the pleasures of this world. If God takes care of us in that sort of way, if we know that his care is not just going to be for these things that he knows we need, food, clothing, etc. If we seek his kingdom, and he gives us the kingdom, then our needs will be met. And that's exactly what Jesus says to do. Seek his kingdom, and all these things will be added to you. In verse 32, this final third section, which again is not exactly the same in Matthew's gospel, Jesus says, fear not, little flock, for it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom is not something you're going to earn, but that God bequeaths to you out of his generosity. Fear not, don't worry, don't be anxious. Why not? Because God has provided all that you need in Christ. Christ is the King of the kingdom. He is the one who will give what is needed in this life and in the next. And therefore, we can do what Jesus says in verse 33. Sell your possessions and give to the needy. Well, that's sacrificial, isn't it? That's what the church did in the book of Acts. They sold what they had and gave to any who had need. They had that oneness of community that Jesus prays for in John 17 in the high priestly prayer. they had that love towards one another that was made manifest in their open generosity towards one another. Now, giving is always sacrificial to some extent. I think that's fairly